Now, my name is Lisa. So welcome to this talk today in our this Young Marine Biologist Week. Okay, thank you for joining us. My name is Lisa and I'm your host today. Okay, this event is organized on behalf of the Marine Conservation Group of the Nature Society, also known as NSS. So Nature Society is a non-government, non-profit organization dedicated to the appreciation, conservation, study, and enjoyment of the nature heritage in Singapore, Malaysia, and the surrounding region. Now, the Young Marine Biologist talk are happening from the 14th December to the 18th December, every day from 1 to 2 p.m. So today is our fourth installment. So tomorrow will be our last session. So each day, a panelist of a young marine enthusiast, 6 years old to 14 years old, will be sharing passionately about the marine animal they love, together with a marine expert. Now, so today our topic is about coral reefs. Oh, interesting. I love coral reefs because I'm a diver. And we are pleased to have on board with us a very good friend, Sam Shu Ching, or better known as Sam. Sam Wei! Hi, Sam. Okay, now, Sam is an avid diver, a coral scientist, and an educator. So spending a lot of time underwater gave Sam the opportunity to experience first-hand impacts of human destruction, so marine debris. Okay, with the main intention to raise awareness about marine debris and local marine biodiversity, Sam co-founded our Singapore Reefs. Okay, so this group actually like to connect like-minded marine enthusiasts through diving and educational outreach program. Sam is also an aspiring science communicator and currently exploring creative ways to increase public knowledge and appreciation in marine science. So through this effort, Sam hopes to inspire stewardship among the youth, okay, people like all our brilliant panelists today to do their part in the environmental conservation. So now let me introduce our most important people today, the 6 young panelists. All right, so I'm going to go one by one. Okay, we will start with Cornelius Lim. He is 12 years old. Cornelius, can you wave? Yeah, Cornelius is from Yumin Primary School. Cornelius' favorite subject is science. Okay, I'm a science teacher too. And I also have to be my favorite subject as well. Okay, and definitely I agree with saying also with him that science is all around you. So science is really around us. Okay, so everything is and can be related to science. He likes to cook, wow, and loves talking to people. So he feels that he knows too few marine animals when there are so many out there. So today in the coral reefs segment, I think we are going to learn a lot more. Okay, next we will have Anthony. Anthony, Tony, can you wave? Okay, Tony loves outdoor activity, especially those involving nature habitats. So he likes dragon and lion dance and swimming too. So he is fascinated by marine animals, especially after his encounter with reef sharks when he had his first snorkeling experience at SeaWorld in Gold Coast. So he is attracted by the colorful photos and video of the marine life taken by his dad when he goes for his dive trip. So Tony's dad is a diver. So he wants to learn scuba diving this year. Okay, wow, Tony, awesome. But due to COVID-19, his plan has been delayed. So no worry, Tony, you are still young. We can learn next year, right? Okay, so he learned about most marine life through watching YouTube. Okay, so Tony, we welcome you to the diving community, okay, next year. Okay, next we have Leah talk. Leah, wave, hi, say hi to everyone. Okay, Leah is a fellow volunteer with me, with MPark and also Nature Society. So Leah is an avid volunteer with a few organizations such as the Intertidal Watch, and she also participated in the Southern Island biodiversity survey with MPark. Okay, she is also a volunteer with MUS Polycat. So Leah has initiated and organized her own cleanup. Wow, with her scout group. Okay, she's a Girl Scout. And they participate in the international coastal cleanup every year. So she likes animal in general, so just animal, okay? And she thinks that marine animals are cute and octopuses are very smart. Octopuses are smart, yes, I think so too. Okay, she feels that there are a lot more to learn about sea creatures, definitely. All right, next, we have our youngest panelist today, Kevin Craddock. Kevin is only 7 years old, also from Yuning Primary School. Wait, Kevin, hi, say hi to everyone. Okay, Kevin loves going to school and learning about animal and chemistry. So he loves building Lego blocks and playing chess. He also loves reading Dogman and Tintin. So Adventure is his favorite comic and movie. So traveling and trying different type of foodie, are among things he enjoys. So one of his favorite trips was visiting Switzerland. So he thinks that marine animals are fascinating creatures, and he is most intrigued by one that lives in the deepest part of the ocean. So he is curious about the anglerfish, the viper fish, which has extendable jaws to eat bigger fish, because these fish are small, but they can eat fish bigger than their own size. Yeah, because they have extendable jaw. So he wishes to explore the breathtaking places like the coral reef one day. Next, we have Evans Wood. Evans is 9 years old, also from Uni Primary. Say hi, Evan. So
Hi.
Evan is one curious boy because he is curious about everything and he enjoys learning. He is challenging himself to solve his Rubik's Cube puzzle in less than 20 seconds. Have you managed already?
No,
Not yet. Okay,
not
not
yet.
yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay. So he enjoyed his abacus lesson every Saturday as he loved to challenge himself to do the mental mathematical sum facts. So he is also taking swimming classes and has almost overcome his fear of water. Well done, Evans, because after that, right, Evan is going to engage in all the water-based sport like diving and kayaking and everything. So he finds marine life interesting and wonders if there are other methods to stay underwater other than using grills and moist skin to take in air. Okay, so he finds that some mammals live in water and some sharks lay eggs while others give birth to young life. So he feels that there are so much to learn about the marine world, definitely. All right. And last but not least, we have Isaac Teo. Isaac, wave to everyone. Isaac is 12 years old from Rosai School. Isaac's hobby is playing chess, just like Kevin. Yeah. So he enjoyed many different he enjoyed playing chess, so he enjoyed the many different moves that he can use to attack and defend. Wow, he must be a chess master. Don't play. So playing chess also allow him to spend time with his family members. So since young, he has been going to his grandfather's pet shop, which has a wide variety of fishes, and he is fascinated by the way they live and behave in water. So these are our 6 young panelists, and they are going to share all they know about coral reef together with Sam today. So now I will hand over the time to Sam. Thank you, Sam, to you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa and the team and my fellow panelists for joining me for this session today. So my name is Sam and I'm a coral scientist. So mainly I work on coral restoration, meaning I grow corals and I put them back into the sea. Okay, so I'm gonna take you all go diving so that we can explore the good, the bad, and the ugly things in Singapore seas. Okay, so okay, so throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, you can also ask me in the chat. Okay, So this is what I do. Okay, I'm a diver. I spend a lot of time in the sea. Okay, so here you see me laying a measuring tape underwater because this is where I can find out what corals actually live in the area. Are they healthy? Are they growing well? And what kind of other animals I can find in that place. So in different areas and different seas, this is what I do so that we can survey the different reef to see which is actually good for us to protect them even more. Okay, so this place, very nice, right? Can see the water, very clear. The corals are so big, the waters are so blue. But do you think this is in Singapore? Yes, no? We'll find out, okay? Hey, hey, okay. So you can see these are the places all around the world, right? We have Great Barrier Reef, we have Egypt, we have Fiji, Maldives. So the corals there are full of colors. The fish life is there, it's very nice. Marine life is also a lot over there. So what about diving in Singapore? Okay, coral reef in Singapore is like hide and seek. So like a lot of my friends say, ah yeah, diving in Singapore, I cannot see anything one. Is that true? So let's see. So this is actually my everyday life. Okay, this is my office where I go diving in this kind of condition. Okay, so the waters you see is actually quite greenish, right? And it seems like it's snowing underwater with a lot of particles. Can you see that? Why is that so? We'll go into deeper details in that, okay? But beyond all that, you can see there's still a lot of coral. Oops. You can still see a lot of corals, a lot of fish, and the corals are really big, okay? So you can see the sediments because of works around Singapore water, where we dig into deep into the sea and we build more land, okay? So because of all these actions, it impacted the coral reef. So, but these are some of the animals we see. Okay, so let's see what I have found underwater. We have cuttlefish, right? And these are the baby ones. And we have seahorses. And we have shrimps. And these are corals and sea slugs. So this is nudibranch. So throughout the year, they have lost their shells and they're also colorful. And this is actually a favorite subject for photographers. Okay, and we do have sharks in Singapore as well. Okay, so these are the impacts of coral reef that they are facing. We have bleaching, we have predators. So you can see these snails are actually eating the animal. And this one, pollution. What do we see here? This is plastic bottle. And in other countries, in Singapore, it's not so bad, but we do have this issue, which is dynamite fishing, where they throw dynamite into the water and then it will explode, right? It will stun the fish, and next the fishermen, they'll come and catch the fish. And at the same time, some of the coral reef, because they are very fragile, they get broken. Okay, and this is land reclamation development near the coast. And this is a problem for Singapore because we always want to expand bigger and bigger, right? So through that, you introduce a lot of sediments into the sea, and it can destroy some of the marine habitats when you take over their homes, okay? So sometimes when we go diving, some people might be careless and they might step and trample on coral reef, and this is quite a common scene. So when they break, and because of all these issues, they take very long time to recover, okay? And also with impacts like climate change, all these things are coming faster, and every time when they come, it gets more serious. So corals might have little time to recover and grow. So that's why we need to save the corals. Okay, so these are two strategies that we are using for Singapore's coral restoration. So we have a flower pot, looks like, right? So this is like a big pot, about 1 meter big. And then we have little holes here so water can pass through. So we put them in the sea and hopefully corals can get attached to them, okay? And another way is we will plant the corals back into the sea, okay? So these are huge rocks found underwater. So for us, we have to scrub them clean, scrub the rock clean, and then we paste something like this, so, called epoxy. It's like plasticine, but it hardens underwater for the corals to grow. Okay, so these are some things that, some projects that I've done. So you can see the flower pot here. This is in 2002. And then 16 years later, you can see corals started to grow, right? So we can find that animals are also using this place as a shelter and as a home. So I can see like some fish hiding inside. Cuttlefish use it as a house. So this is quite interesting. And there's a couple of these units around Singapore waters. And this is the marine park that Lisa was talking about, Sisters Island. So this is very special. We have built this HDB, okay, for fish and corals as well. So we have scientists, we have the government agencies, we have architects working together to build this structure for the animals, okay, so that they can come here and stay. Corals can also grow here, right? So this structure is 10 meters tall, and we have 8 of them around Sisters Island. You can see these shells here. We are hoping to plant corals, and all this space, we hope that we can attract more fish to stay in this area. All right. So this is how we do coral transplantation. So it's a bit like gardening. So what we do, the first one is we go and find healthy coral colonies. Okay, and then we find little fragments of them, little pieces of corals. We bring it up to the shore, and then we build a coral nursery, like a little table underwater so that we can grow them. So when they grow a bit bigger, you can see how they become a bit bigger, right? They are ready to go back to the reef, and then we plant them. So with this, it also requires a lot of care. So I have to go there every month to take care of the corals to see are they growing or not, are they still sticking on the substrate, okay? So this is how it looks like. All right, this is one of my colleagues where we go down and check the corals every month. So this is the table that we sunk underwater, and you have these corals growing on them, right? So sometimes you also have some surprise visitors here, like the fish. They'll come and check out the corals and checking you out. Hey, curious fish, okay? And we also try different methods to grow coral. So we have concrete tile. Sometimes we use this tile, ceramic tile, different materials. So this one is actually a CD. Okay, I don't know if you know CD, you know, right? Yeah, and then we try to grow coral to see what is actually the best thing for them to grow on. Okay, so from here you can also see coral, they come in different shape and sizes, right? So these are the branching one. They look like tree branch. So this one, they look like a plate. And this one, they look like a rock. Okay, so we'll go into that also. So sometimes it's very exciting because when you grow coral, you get to attract other animals as well. So like in this video, you see this little cuttlefish hanging by this coral. And there's this little fish here, a butterfly fish, peeping and going in and out of in between the coral branches. You have crabs in between, fishes that feeds on different things growing on the nursery frame, sea slug, and even pufferfish, and also a snapper. Okay, so you can see all these marine animals, they also make use of the structure as a home and as a shelter. So like I said earlier, you can see this is Singapore, right? And we are growing bigger and bigger every year. So when you grow bigger and you reclaim the land, you can see it starts to go into the sea space. So when it goes into the sea space, what happens? You are taking up the homes of other marine animals, right? So the animals are losing their home. So what we are trying to do is to put corals back in places that marine animals can come back and they can have their home. So we are building more home for them also, so that we can live, coexist, and live happily together. So these are the sea walls that has been replaced, that has replaced a lot of natural beaches. Okay, so instead of all the sandy beach and mangrove, now around Singapore, you actually see a lot of these kind of structures. So what we do, we grow these corals and then we plant them back into the sea like this, right? So over time, this is how it looks like underwater. Okay, and this is how I check them every month. So we take a picture and this acts as a ruler. So I can go back and use my computer and see how much they have grown every month. Okay, so this is a video of how big the coral transplant have grown. Okay, so you can see these corals are about 4 years old. So we have planted them manually on all these rocks. Okay, so this is a brain coral. It looks like brain, right? And then you have sea urchins everywhere. So you can see it's actually we are very happy that the corals are growing well. Okay. And there's like different kind of corals that scientists are trying to plant back into the sea. So through this whole project, we want to see the winners and the losers. So we can see by trying different kind of corals, which ones can actually grow the best in Singapore's marine environment. So when we get the techniques correct, then we can actually share with other countries that how we are growing corals here. Okay, so this is the end of my little presentation, and let me share. Okay, and I am delighted to have my six little coral experts with me today, and they'll be sharing with you what they have learned about corals. Okay, so we are also very happy to answer questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type your questions in the field and we'll try to address them at the end of the session. Okay, my panelists, are you all ready for questions? Yes? Okay, let's start. Ready? Okay, so I have my first one. So if you have any, just shout out your answer. Okay, just raise your hand and then I'll address you, okay? First one, why are coral reef important? Okay, Tony?
Coral reefs are important as coral reefs cover around 284,000 square kilometers, which is less than 1/10 of a percent of the sea bottom, yet are vital because they are nursery grounds to 25% of all known marine species and home to nearly 33% of all known fish species.
Wow, within such a small area, right? And they're like home for a lot of marine animals. Okay, Isaac, I saw you raise your hand just now. You want to add on anything?
They are not only important to the environment, but they are also important to humans, because coral reefs are very important to the economy as they attract tourists from around the world and have an estimated global value of $6 trillion each year due to their contribution to fishing and tourism industries, as well as coastal protection they provide. Many drugs are now being developed from coral reef animals and plants as possible cures for cancer, arthritis, human bacterial infections, viruses, and other diseases.
Super. This is how coral reefs take my money. I spend all my money going to all these coral reef and go diving. And that's a good point that you raised up, right? You say medicines, scientists, doctors, medicines they're actually using for all these costs. And then you know that, do you know, like some corals, they're actually quite hard and they're actually trying to see whether they can use them as a substitute for bone grafting, okay, to replace some of your bones inside your body. Okay, any other questions? Any other who want to add on? Anyone? Why are they important? No? Evan.
Although coral reefs cover such a small percentage of the seabed, they are actually home to 25% of marine creatures.
What kind of marine creatures do coral reefs support? Can you name me some? I showed some just now, right?
Cuttlefish.
Cuttlefish and?
Is it sea urchins?
Sea urchins, okay. They're around coral reef. Okay, good. I think we have covered it. Okay, do you know? So just now I showed you we have coral reef, right, in Singapore. So where exactly can we find coral reef in Singapore? Isaac.
They are mostly found around the southern and western part of the country. Like, for example, Labrador, around Labrador over there, Sisters Island, and many more. But then I can't remember the rest of it. But yeah, I remember there's a lot.
So we do have them nearer to the southern side. We have Sentosa, right? St. John Island and Pulau Semakau. And there's so many more out there that we still want to explore. Okay? All right. So this is a very tricky question that I have in my head. Okay, maybe Kevin, maybe Kevin can help me. So coral reef, corals, are they rocks, animals, or plants?
Animals.
Animals, right? And a lot, because they don't move, right? So a lot of people mistaken them as rocks. So why are they animals? Kevin?
Because they don't make their own food.
They don't make their own food, or they make their own food?
They don't.
They don't? What do you think, Evans?
They need air, food, and water, and they don't make food.
Some more? So can they move by themselves?
No.
But
No?
that's one of the characteristics.
Okay, so corals can actually move by themselves. Okay, so there are some, most of them, they attach themselves to rocks, right? But there are also some corals that they can move around, like the mushroom coral, they are not attached to anything, so they can move around. Okay, so they do not make their own food, right? So how do they make their food? Kevin, how do corals make their food?
Corals have an algae called zooxanthellae, which use for photosynthesis to provide energy for itself and the coral.
Wow, that's such a big name, zooxanthellae. Okay, I always get that name, like I always get tongue twisted, right? And also, they catch their own food, right?
Yes.
So what do they eat actually? Maybe Leah?
They eat stuff like plankton and
Plankton.
like other like animal matters, like all the small things that they can find.
So how do they capture their own food? What do they use?
They have little tentacles and like stinging cells, so like they'll have the tentacles, and then when the food comes over, they'll like sting it and then bring it to their mouth.
Right.
So it's like a tiny jellyfish.
Like a tiny jellyfish. You are right. So with that, did you know that corals, they are actually related to sea anemones and jellyfish? Right? They are closely related, right? So how are they similar? Who can help me? Corals, sea anemones, and jellies. Kevin.
They all have stinging cells.
Right. And what do they use the sting cells for?
To capture prey.
To capture their prey. And can you touch them?
No.
What will happen if you touch them?
They can sting you.
They can sting you. So
Get stung.
you get stung, right? And okay. So what about Tony? Anything to add on? Why are they animals? Can they grow? How do they grow?
Coral reefs form by reformation by geological substance. Over time, volcanic islands sink and fringing reefs form. Narrow, shallow lagoons separate these reefs from land. Further sinking leads to barrier reefs, which are separated from land by very wide, sometimes deep lagoons. Further sinking levels to atoll development. Atolls are archipelago reefs with no nearby land. As the island sites, reef growth usually compensates for the rate at which it is sinking.
And also, that's very good also. And then for us, right, when we want to grow taller, our parents ask us to drink what?
Milk.
Drink milk. Because milk has
Calcium.
Calcium.
Yes, and correct. So we have all these hard corals when they are reef builders, right? So they can create a lot of structures and they grow bigger and bigger. So corals, they also need calcium. How do they get the calcium? They cannot drink milk, right? So how do they grow? So they actually get calcium and carbonate from the water, okay, through this process called calcification, right? So, Isaac.
Yes.
What kinds of different shape do coral have?
They have many different kinds of shape. For example, they can either branch out or like appear single organism by, like, for example, those brain corals, they don't branch out. They are just like one single blob. And they are also, and there are also some that are very flat.
So there's three main forms. One is the branching, one is the massive, the one that look like brain, and the other one is your plating coral. Okay, so I have another question. So which one do you think grow the fastest? Maybe Colinius? Which one do you think grows the fastest? Colinius, need to unmute yourself.
I'm not that sure.
You can make a guess.
It also depends on the climate.
That is good. Yes. So we have different kind of corals. They can grow at different rates, okay? So depending on the water temperature, the salinity, and the different kind of food they can get, right? But generally, which one is the one that grows the slowest? Is it the branching or the one that look like brain or the plating one? Who wants to help? Kevin.
Massive.
Massive. Massive grow the slowest?
Yes.
You are right. So they can only grow, yay! Okay, they can only grow 5 to 25 millimeters per year. Right? And it's so slow. Okay, so which one is the fastest growing one?
Branching.
Branching, yes. And how fast can they grow? Give me a number, guess.
20 centimeters.
Very good. I think we were at the same Google page. Right?
No, my parents just telling me behind.
Good job. Okay, yes, so they can
You
grow
did
as
a
much as
perfect
20 centimeters. Yeah, and they grow so much faster, right? How much do you grow in a year? 1 cm? 2 cm?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't constantly keep track.
Don't you have checks every time? Health check? Okay. Another question, okay? Let's talk about life cycle of coral. And how do they reproduce?
So for example, if a coral, one piece of the coral breaks off, right? It can grow into a new coral if it like finds a suitable spot. Yeah. Right. And they also do budding.
So what are budding? Who else can help explain what is budding? Maybe Leah? No? Okay, so Isaac talked about fragmentation, right? This is the way where it's like gardening. Okay, so you take a little piece of the corals, and because they are colonial animals, right? Each polyp, they can actually clone themselves. They keep cloning and cloning and cloning. They become a whole colony of animals, right? And then there's another way where they can reproduce sexually. Okay, so you have the male corals and the female coral. They'll release their eggs and sperms, and then they'll mix around in the water, and then they become plankton, right? So baby corals are plankton. They float around until they find somewhere that is safe for them. So like what Isaac said, they need somewhere stable, right? Okay, so if you are in a very wobbly house, do you think you want to stay there forever? No, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's why they stay there, and then they'll grow into another coral for the rest of their life. Okay, so just now, remember Kevin talked about photosynthesis and zooxanthellae, right? So they have a kind of relationship. So who else can tell me more about it? Evans.
Zooxanthellae is algae, which is a plant. So algae makes their own food.
So what do the algae need to make the food?
Sunlight.
Sunlight.
Photosynthesis.
Correct. Okay, so they are like good friends, right? So they help one another. So what happens is the zooxanthellae give the corals their food and also their color, right? And then in return, the coral gives them a shelter and a home to stay in. Okay, right? So what happens when the water temperature becomes really hot? Cornelius.
They will bleach, but when the corals bleach, they are still not dead.
So what is bleaching? What color will they turn to?
They turn white.
So they are not dead yet, right? So what happens? How do you know when they are dead? Don't know?
When you dry them, they are dead.
When you dry them, they are dead. Okay, so like what Cornelius has said, so when corals loses the zooxanthellae, okay, so imagine you're in a very hot room, right? And then you want to get out of the house. This is what the zooxanthellae do. They'll get out of the house, get out of the corals, and that's why they'll turn pale and they become white. So over time, if the temperature goes back to normal, this zooxanthellae will come back to the corals and eventually they will actually get more of their food and colors back. Okay, so what happens is if you see corals that are actually very furry, you know that a lot of other algae will take over the corals already. That means they are like dead. But if they're still white, there's still a chance to save them. Okay, so now what colors are actually coral? What colors do you see? See all your background? Maybe Leah? Oh,
corals are actually like white, but the zooxanthellae give them color, so that's why they all look really colorful. And then when they go through bleaching, they eject it, so it just leaves the clear stuff underneath. And then because the calcium carbonate skeleton is also white, so you just see through the coral into the skeleton.
That's very good. That's very, very good information, right? So the zooxanthellae, they not only provide food, but they provide colors. And you see a lot of the proteins inside. They can be red, they can be bluish, greenish, and these are all produced by the corals themselves also. Okay, I'm hungry. So who actually eats coral? Kevin!
Turtle!
Turtles! And Leah, you mentioned something?
There's like this crown of thorns starfish which eat the corals.
Parrotfish. And also parrotfish eat coral.
And also parrotfish, right? And crown of thorns. You know crown of thorns? How many arms do they have?
Is it
Kevin!
20.
20. Is it 8?
No.
20?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So when they feed on the corals, they can feed so fast. And sometimes they are so smart. So when I go diving, I try to find them. And do you know where they're always hiding?
In the corals themselves.
Where?
They always hide under the corals. Okay, so you can see little spikes. So you have to dive under, tilt your head and find them. Okay, so other than that, parrotfish also, right? Turtles also feed on coral, but usually they feed on the soft ones, like what you see on Isaac's background. It's not soft coral. Okay, and then you have crabs, you have marine worms, you also have snails that feed on these corals. Okay, and corals now we know they have been impacted, right? With a lot of threats. So what kind of threats are corals facing? Cornelius.
They face coral. Their threats are coral mining, bottom trawling, and even humans digging of canals and accessing into islands and beaches.
So when you talk about say again.
When they enter the wood script on the corals, then they break apart.
Yeah, and then you destroy all these home and all the structures that can create a lot of homes for these animals, right? Okay. Isaac.
Global warming and pollution.
And pollution. What kind of pollution? Evan?
I wanted to say global warming.
You can say again, never mind.
Global warming because when the water gets warmer and it doesn't return back to normal temperature, the corals will bleach and they will die because the water doesn't go back to normal temperature.
Not easily, right? So how can we do that? This one we need the help of a lot of people, right? So later at the end, I'll go through that also. Okay? And pollution. What kind of pollution did we see? In the sea?
Chemical pollution. Chemical pollution.
Chemical pollution and
Water pollution.
water pollution. And just now you all see a lot of plastic bottles, right?
Plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution. So it's also a global problem, but each of us can also do our part in that, right? So other than pollution,
there's also ocean acidification.
Ocean acidification.
Yeah, because like the carbon dioxide is absorbed by the ocean, which makes it more acidic. And then it makes the polyps, like the coral, it's more difficult for them to grow their skeleton, so it becomes much weaker.
Right. So it becomes much weaker. So we also have climate change, right? Where you have a lot of frequent heavy storms, thunderstorms, hurricanes. So all these storms, when they come, they can also injure all these corals. They cannot help us sustain the impacts of all these strong events. Okay, so very good. Coral harvesting also, that's a huge problem, right? So sometimes corals are so pretty. So when you go to some countries, you actually see them selling corals. And that is actually quite sad. Yes, Kevin, you want to say something?
They also use blast fishing, in which they kill the fishes by using dynamite.
So like what I've said earlier, right? So it's actually quite scary, you know? So the time I saw, there's two boats. Okay, so the first boat.
And boat anchoring.
And boat anchoring. Yes, so what happens to the anchor?
It will smash the coral once it hits.
Right, so this is also a problem. But so now to combat this problem, like the marine park, we put different buoys so the boat can actually hang on to the buoy rather than they drop the anchor. So this is something that in Singapore we are doing to help our coral reef. Okay, and because we have a lot of boats, right, in Singapore, going around, and you know we have this very successful and big port, so pollution is also a problem, right? Sometimes there's also collision. So these are something that we need to actually take care of and be careful about. Okay, any other things from you all? Any other, how can we help the coral reefs?
We can, for example, in a souvenir shop, if you see live corals that have been plucked from the ocean, you shouldn't buy them.
That's a very good one. You should not buy them, because when you buy, you encourage more harvesting, right? So that goes the same for a lot of other animals also, such as turtles and crocodile, and seahorses also, right? So we want to keep them where they are in the sea. Okay. So
what about sharks?
What about sharks? Sharks too. Okay, what about sharks? I ask you back. Sharks fin soup. So we should all leave them in the sea, right? So sharks, why do we need to protect them? Yesterday they learned a bit about sharks already. Because you all like sharks, right? And some of the sharks.
Yep.
Oh, do we have sharks in Singapore?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have also seen like bamboo sharks, small ones, when I'm diving in the sea. Okay. So there's so many things in the sea. So I'll wait for you all to go and learn swimming and diving, and then we can dive together. Okay. Some more. What other threats do we see for coral reefs? Flipping.
Because of their predators.
Uh-huh.
Their predators eating the coral reefs.
Yes.
And overfishing.
Overfishing. So when you talk about overfishing, right? And then just now Colinius mentioned about trawling. So what is trawling?
A boat having a giant net and then just like going through the sea. Then fishes will get stuck in the net.
Not only fishes, right? Sometimes you have like bycatch, you have like turtles and all.
All those things swimming in the sea, I pity them.
You pity them. Ayo. And then you all see a lot of sad pictures in the internet, right? Yes, Isaac.
Because just like humans, corals also have diseases.
That's a very good one. They have diseases. So do you know what kind of diseases they have? Let me help you. So sometimes when you go diving, you see like little white spots on them. Okay, so they are also some kind of disease. And also plastic pollution, right? So let's say if you have plastics in the water, let's say fishing line, okay, and plastic bags. So when they are hooked onto corals, what happens? And then when the waves come, they will keep moving around, right? So when a plastic bag move around, they'll keep hitting the corals, and this will give them abrasion, correct? So when they give abrasion, all the constant rubbing, you'll kind of rub the tissues also, and this will expose them to even more injuries, and they will get sick faster. Okay, so all this pollution not only will injure, some of the sea turtles, they'll accidentally eat it, right? Because they don't have good eyes like us, but it can also cause a lot of impacts on coral reef. Why? Because like some of the marine trash, they can cover the corals. And just now, what did we say? We want coral, they need what to grow?
Sunlight.
Sunlight. So when you cover the corals, do you think they can get enough sunlight?
No.
No. So when I go diving, when I remove that plastic bag, you can see the whole corals, right? And then that patch in the middle is white because they lost all the zooxanthellae, right? And then they get stressed. So losing zooxanthellae, right? It can be also that corals are stressed, not only because of temperature. Okay, so when they're stressed, they lose all this zooxanthellae. So when they lose zooxanthellae, they cannot get enough food and food, and their colors will be lost. Okay. I have this question. Why is Singapore's water green?
Sediments.
Due to pollution.
I actually replied.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Yes, you think it's dirty because of the sediment, right? So you can see because of the sediments, right? And you have all the big machines. When they go deep into the sea, they'll dig up the seabed. And then through the digging, a lot of sediments will be in the water, right? And also because of a lot of nutrients, that's why you can see a lot of all these things in the water. But other than that, we still have a lot of things in the sea that we want to protect them. Okay? Okay, do you know how many corals do we have in Singapore? Different species. Want to make a guess?
I want to guess 8. I'm guessing 8 to 12. 8 to 12.
I'm guessing 5.
5 species?
I'm
guessing
8 to 12.
Like 100.
Either 8 or 12.
I'm guessing 5 to 7. If
I think at least 100.
100. Oh, Zoe said 300. Okay, let's do math, okay? The whole world, right? The total number of coral species is about 800. Okay?
Is there 250 species in Singapore?
Yeah, in Singapore, there is 1/3. 1/3 of 800 is what?
Like 200 and something.
Yeah, it's 200 and something. Okay, so we have recorded over 250 coral species in Singapore.
I just quickly Googled
You
it.
did? Too
Me
slow,
too.
too slow. Okay, so we have 250 coral species historically, okay? But over time, because of all these impacts, right? Because of pollution, because of land reclamation, when we go diving recently and check like, oh, what corals we have, we only managed to find about 150, okay? Right, so it's getting lesser and lesser, right? And some of them we will collect and then we'll put in the museum. So next time, if we want to study back, we know that, hey, there's actually this species found in Singapore before, okay? So to prevent these numbers from keep dropping, right, we need to do more, correct? To help these coral reefs so they can flourish again, okay? So now I want to thank you all. Okay, anybody want to say any last words? My panelists, anything? No? Okay, so I am very, very happy to have all of you today with me on board. And a big thank you to all of you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. And we hope that you have learned something about coral. Okay, so now let me proceed to share my last few slides about corals. Okay, and see how we can help them even more. Wait, wait for this dinosaur to start the screen. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, let's have a little recap. Okay, these are some things that we have seen, right? So the panelists I mentioned, we have climate change, it's called bleaching. And then we have predation. This is some of the snails that feed on coral. We have plastic pollution, yes. And this one?
Explosive fishing.
Blast mining.
Dynamite.
Fishing.
Cannot. Dynamite fishing. And then you have?
Reclamation of land.
Yes, and coastal development so that we can build our waterfront living. Oh, very nice. Face the sea. And then the last one we have?
Careless ocean-based activities that humans destroy.
Trampling over coral.
Stepping on coral.
Stepping on corals. And and we can be more responsible in that, right? When we go out to other countries. So next time, just keep that in mind also. And these are the things that I found underwater. What do you see? This one.
Cup noodles? Are you serious? Cup noodles?
Yeah, it's
Seriously,
my favorite.
cup noodles.
Cup noodles? Who throws cup noodles inside?
So is that your favorite flavor? Huh? Who's
No,
eating cup
mine is
noodles?
my favorite one is chicken.
I
Chicken.
prefer seafood.
I like tom
The
yum.
tom yum seafood.
Yeah. Okay, next time we go eat together. Okay? And then this one, have you seen this before?
No.
Net.
Hey, this is actually very interesting. This is a traditional fish trap. Yes, it's a net. It's a fish cage that they trap fish. Okay, so this
Nothing like a bear
abandoned.
trap.
Yeah, it is so big, you know. I think it's taller than you. 1.3. 1.3?
It's around the same height as me. I'm
you. Yeah, so this fish trap, right? So if they're abandoned and fishermen forget about them, they'll continue to be there and continue to trap fish. So some of the fish, they're inside, they cannot get out, they'll rot and they'll die. And some of them, because they are so big, right? So what happens? They'll destroy some of the coral reef as well, right? This one,
Plastic bag.
Plastic bags.
and then you tap out your Milo inside, right?
Yeah.
Tap out your Milo packet, all this, all your tepeng, kopi peng, it's all this one, right? And then we found I even found a satay fan in the sea.
What?
Yeah.
Who eats satay? It's like...
Maybe the mermaids order the satay, that's why. And then you have all these bags. And what is this one?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's a mask.
It's a mask?
A helmet. I'm guessing it's a helmet.
Yes, it's a motorcycle helmet in the sea.
A cycling helmet? Who throws a helmet into the sea?
That's right. We don't know. Okay, so all these things, I can see a lot of things in the sea. Okay, so there are a lot of things that we all can do to play our part, right? So all these things can be avoided. Am I right? So this is all, if you remember to throw your rubbish responsibly and bin them properly, then all these things will not go into the sea, especially when you go picnic, right? So this is something that you can tell your friends and family about, right? So this is the future of Singapore Reef that we all hope to achieve, where people and the marine life, we can live together happily. Okay, so like I said, these are the sea walls aligned. So when you go East Coast Park, you see a lot of people fishing there, right? So these are the places that we want to plant our corals there as well. So eventually you can see a lot of corals and a lot of fish in Singapore's water, and it can be a little bit blue next time. Okay. So these are other scientists, like what they are doing. Okay. So like they have been planting seed corals back into the water. Like this is my team. Some of them are growing more coral. Some of them are putting back giant clam. And they're also scientists to really explore what are actually inside our waters. And like, like anemones, or like using DNA to find out different kind of corals. What are they? And what kind of different animals are there in our waters? So there's still a lot of things we don't know, and that's what we want to learn, right? And all of you want to learn that too, right? Okay, so these are some things that you can do, like some of you have mentioned already. And I think most importantly, I will want all of you to get involved in this course. I know that Leah, you have been volunteering also, and that is good. So keep it up. So if you have any free time, if you have your family members, so do bring them along and you can join some of this group in their activities. Okay? Like this. So trash heroes, they pick up trash on the beach. And then you have intertidal walks program that you can bring your family and friends to explore the reef. So M Parks, they also have a lot of events, right? Like citizen science. So you can learn a bit of science. Like this one, they learn to monitor seagrass. And this is where you can get a bit of skills also. So next time, if you want to be a marine biologist like me, you can also try to get involved in all this and learn a little bit of science also. See whether you like it or not. Okay? So these are also some other things that you can do, right? So how can you reduce your carbon footprint? What are some things you can do?
Take public transport instead of driving. Though.
Yes, and don't stay at home, play computer. Play lesser, go out there and explore the nature. Huh?
Use sustainable energy, lor.
Correct, like what? How?
Solar energy. Lor.
You got solar energy at home?
No, I mean, but there is solar energy at HDB now.
Next time,
Solar
okay?
panels.
Next time when you get older, you all must tell people, oh, I want to build house, then you must have this kind of sustainable, renewable energy, okay? So if you don't use your computer or this, you don't watch TV, you can turn it off, correct? And also your sustainable seafood. Okay, so choose wisely, choose what to eat. Practice responsible tourism when you go overseas, and remember to throw your things properly, right? Okay, and this is my last slide, and I want to leave you with all these things that I see in the sea. Okay, what do you see?
A lot of things that is not supposed to be in the ocean, I guess.
Like what? Like what?
I could see cardboard.
This one?
Water bottles.
Oh,
yes.
what is the water bottle? Oh my.
So many. Why? Why is it there?
So many sentiments also.
People just don't care.
Inside.
Plastic bags.
Yeah,
plastic bags.
Yeah.
People just don't care. They think
plastic.
Ocean is also
plastic.
You can just throw whatever you want in the ocean.
Everything is like plastic underwater.
And all these things. So because of all these sediments, right, you can see how they actually cover some of the things. And if you're like, you see, for us, it's also very hard to spot all this marine debris, right? All this trash. What about other animals? They don't have good eyes like us. So they'll end up eating all these things and they feel sick. So what should we do?
Like leatherback turtles like jellyfish. Then they confuse pink plastic bags in jellyfish. Then they just eat the pink plastic bags.
Yeah, so sad, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many things we can do, and I hope that we can all play our part in this marine conservation. Okay?
Use the wooden straw / metal straw. Don't use plastic straw.
Don't use or you say no, I can just drink from the cup. Don't use straw lah. Just
I actually got metal straw at home.
You have? Got wash properly now every time when you use?
Once you go to a wedding and they give metal straw.
Wow, you go wedding. Whose wedding? Your wedding?
My mother's cousin.
Yeah, so there's something that we can change, right, in our daily life. So rather than we go supermarket, we can bring our own bag, correct? To put our things inside lah. So most importantly is to bin your things properly so they won't go into the sea. All right, so I think I'm done. So Yay, great job. I had fun and I hope everybody had fun too. And I'll hand the time over to Lisa.
Okay, yes, thank you so much, Sam. I'm sure today everyone actually really enjoyed this a very interactive session. Sam and the young panelists, okay, Cornelius, Tony, Leah, Kevin, Evans, and who did I miss out? Who did I miss out? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, the main just a very last just to share. Okay, the Marine Conservation Group, which organizes this, okay, is a special interest group of the Nature Society. So it was formed in 1985 with the aim to encourage understanding and protection of nature, marine nature in Singapore and the Southeast Asia. So MCG actually support the society activity because the society have a few other also interest group, you know, like bird group and all those things. So it supports the society activity and advocacy and also all the outreach function and also deliver all the scientific data needed for any kind of conservation and management for our marine and coastal resources. So the group activity are focused on limiting anthropogenic threats, meaning what you mean by anthropogenic, meaning that things that are done by humans, okay, to the marine ecosystem. Is that, for example, like the marine pollution that Sam just shared. Okay, so these are the impact from human activity, right? And then we also include like endangered species monitoring, like the society horseshoe crab survey, which is ongoing until this COVID, ongoing for many years at the Kranji Mark Flat. Okay, so then now we welcome, you know, all these young children here, the audience, and all their family to actually to just consider, because Nature Society is basically a non-profit, non-government organization and mainly run by volunteers. So Maisha and teacher Cheryl, we are both teachers, and then we are members of the society and we are volunteers. So a lot of the activities are actually managed by volunteers for volunteers and for the members. So yeah, to find out more about the society membership, you can either just go to the website www.nss.org.sg or contact them via email, or the phone number is there. So you can take a screenshot because there is actually family membership, which is very suitable for this young audience and their family. So yes, so it's, yeah, so you can actually explore that. Okay, so now, so what does member get to do? So members actually get to enjoy a range of activities like guided nature walk, bird watching, butterfly watch, workshops, and then overseas eco trip, but of course not during this time. Hopefully this whole situation open up and we can travel. All right, and then also a lot of volunteering opportunities and also involvement. Okay, you can also find out more about us, more about the Nature Society through all our this social media platform. Okay, take a screenshot also so you can go in and yeah, if you so kids, if you want to spend more time on the computer, please go into our website. Okay, so thank you for joining the Young Marine Biology session today. Okay, for tomorrow is our this whole series, and tomorrow is Friday. It's actually our last session of this whole week. So please join us tomorrow for our last session on sea turtles. All right. We will also have on board with us Ko Guang Xiong, a senior manager from the Coastal and Marine branch of NPARC, who was actually involved in the setting up of the first and only turtle hatchery in Singapore, located on our small sister island of our marine park. So if you are wondering if Singapore really has sea turtles, or if they are really coming up to our shore and nest and lay eggs, please join us tomorrow to find out. All right? Okay, so I would like everyone to actually turn on your video and we're going to take a group photos. Mei, can you help to do that? Thank you. Okay, so for those, yes.
Okay, so everyone turn on your video, please. Okay, on the count of 3, I will take the screenshot. So whoever would like to join the group photo, please make sure your video is turned on. All right, so I'll start the countdown now. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me check whether a photo is taken. Give me a moment. Okay, very good. We have the photo. All right. So, okay, do we want to take one more? I see everyone's still posing. Okay, let's have one more, right?
Everybody take one more, come. Okay, my panelists, come, panelists.
Everyone ready? All right, let's see. Okay, so I'll count down again. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Okay, we have.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, the panelists stay on. Okay, for the rest, yes, thank you so much, and please join us tomorrow.